actions. And then my first question is, let's just say that a young soccer player wants to become a professional, right? His goal is to play in the MLS. How do you eliminate distractions? Let's say Netflix, Fortnite, so many videos, so that they can stay laser sharp into their goal.
Well, I could pretty much speak on female behalf versus
Yeah,
male behalf, because
yeah,
the girls that I've known that I've either coached or been in contact with or any of that who
yeah.
have gone on to play professionally,
Hmm.
are just laser focused on their craft. I mean, I've
Yeah.
got a kid, about 2 or 3 girls that are on being looked at the national team right now,
Wow.
that are only 13 years old, just turning 13. They're
Jesus.
already getting call ups to be seen. These girls are so focused. I mean, at least 2 of them are homeschooled to the point where it's their school, which
Hmm.
really comes first in their parents' eyes, and then their craft comes second. But they
Wow.
are such focused kids that they don't get on Fortnite. They don't get on.
Yeah.
They're really good kids that are just,
Yeah.
and they're rare. They really are super rare,
Yeah.
because the majority of girls that I've coached have had other interests outside of soccer,
Yeah.
even played multiple sports. But when the higher the level, the more they laser focus onto one. Um, but it's good to be well rounded in that aspect too. But as long as they're not getting in trouble, minimal time doing Fortnite,
Yeah.
um, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, to have a little bit of balance in their life. But their main focus is soccer. Those are the kids that work outside of practice as well. No one has to tell
Yes.
them to go outside and kick a ball.
Yeah.
These
It
girls
reminds
are.
me of Kobe Bryant, who I was listening to not a soccer interview, a basketball interview with Tim Grover, who mentored Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, and he said he talks about cleaners and people being those are the types of player that you have to tell them to, hey, it's time to stop training. It's not time to, you don't have to tell them that, hey, begin training. You
Right.
always have to tell them. And I think a big factor for that, I'm not sure if you'd agree, is also their parents. I think the parents play a massive role in, obviously raising the player, the girl, the boy, whatever it is, into installing, beliefs and the values on how to win. And I guess the question coming from a coach, how do you actually deal with people who are super committed, obsessed with winning and wanting to become a professional, with those who don't?
Who don't have.
Yeah, that drive, that desire, that obsession to winning.
Well, I mean, going back to those kids that I was focused on, that are really focused, and
Hmm.
and you made a good point. The parents are super supportive, and
Yeah.
they
Okay.
know it's a process. They know it is not win at all costs. It's development. Of course, they all want to win, right? They're competitive to be at that high level, but it's not about win, win, win. It's about development, learning from your mistakes. But they do not harp on their kid after a bad game. They go, look, what do you think you need to work on? What do you think you could do better? That
Hmm.
these are not people that get in the car and rip their kids, which I know millions of parents do, which
Yes.
is super sad, in this
Yes.
country, that they live through their kids, and they get in the car and go, I cannot believe you didn't stay with that player, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
They
Yes.
don't, it's horrible. It's horrible that parents do that to their kids. I mean, my question would be to my daughter when she played, was, did you have fun? Did you have
Yeah.
fun? You cannot get in there and go, I cannot believe you didn't do this, 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 and you disappointed me. It's super sad that happens. But um, the kids, and I've seen, unfortunately, kids that have the ability to play a professional level that choose not to because of parents that push them too much and
Yeah.
keep them from other things, that they don't have a life outside of soccer. So a
Hmm.
lot of females on the girl side, the pinnacle obviously is mostly college. That is where the pinnacle of girl soccer is. That is there is less than 10% that want to play professional soccer. Less than 10%,
Wow. Less than
because they
10%.
don't. Girls are, they want to get married, they want to have kids, they want to have a job, they want to explore other. I mean, I've had a lot of kids quit college soccer because it's a job. It really truly is. When I was in college, I hated the training because it was every day. But I love the games and I love the road trips to be with my buddies.
Mm,
But it is you're definitely earning your scholarship when you play
yeah.
college soccer, because it is. I mean, if you have a great coach, and I did have a decent coach, a good coach, all 4 years, but he made training fun a lot of the times, but it did become a beatdown because you have
Yeah.
college, studies, and I really couldn't be in a sorority because I was in the soccer sorority. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, but it's hard to see the difference between the laser focused kid versus kids that still get there, but they don't work as hard.
Yeah, and that's also a great point. Not worked as hard. And I guess transitioning now to work ethic and stuff, what do you think? There's a difference between having, tremendous a work ethic, but not being effective. How do you find that, and like how do you know you're being effective when you're working out? Let's say you're training, like for example, for me, being effective is working on game movements, that first touch, passing the ball, being aware. And not being effective is, let's say, practicing on penalty kicks all day long and free kicks, which you only get about maybe once every 2 or 3. How do you tell your players, hey, you need to work hard but be effective?
Well, it you tell them to work on things that
Yeah.
is more, like you said, how many free kicks do you get in a game? That's
Yeah.
great to work on it to a certain amount, but
Yeah.
but if you can't trap a ball, then you need to seriously work on a million balls coming in at you from
Yeah.
different angles, high, low, driven, floated, whatever. Work on your first touch versus working on free kicks.
Yeah.
Or, it's where are you on the field as well? What position do you play?
Hmm.
To what you need to work on as well. If you're an outside mid, you got to keep your fitness up. You got to work on crosses. You got to work on turns and
Hmm.
in and off the edge, stuff like that. Exactly. Instead of just working on free kicks or juggling or doing
Hmm.
tricks with
Yeah.
the ball. I mean,
Yeah.
sure, there's free time and lack time to do fun stuff like that. But
Hmm.
yes, and when you say how do you know if it pays off? Well, in games, obviously,
Yes.
if they're effective, and wow, man, working on that extra touches for that hour and a half really looked like great touches out of the air and receiving and being able to play out. It pays off through gameplay.
Would you think that's one of the greatest separators between players who actually make it, is having a phenomenal first touch, that it's like it's almost not like a messy touch, but it's almost like glued to their feet. They can maneuver it how they want. They get the ball and they know what to do. It's almost like instinctively they already know what to do. Would you say that's one of the biggest separator, or is there something else?
It's a combination, maybe.
Yeah.
There's those special players that
Yeah.
just that they know they know that pressure's coming from this way. They
Yes.
just know. And then there's kids that just are able to fight out of it, right? They're able to,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't know that you were there, but I could still get out of that pressure
Exactly.
because their touch is good. So
Mhm.
again, it depends on the kid.
Mhm.
But those kids are special. Those kids, like
Yes.
a Messi and kids that I've had the pleasure of coaching, that
Mhm.
it's like, how she just special, you
Yeah,
know?
there's just something, and I've met a few actually where, and I haven't met a ton, but they're just those few rare that they'll go on the field. You can automatically tell they're good by the way they walk, the way they do their trainings, the approach they have to their game, and obviously how they lead, their touch, and everything. It's super rare, but one of the things that I think goes into that is self-confidence. Self-confidence in your ability to take the risk, something that other players aren't willing to do. And I guess, but there is a difference between self-confidence and arrogance. I guess the question is, how do you instill self-confidence in young players and women, and humility at the same time? So you're not over the board and you're like, oh, look at me, man, I'm the best player, and then you don't back it on the field. But also, like, you're super humble, but you're extremely self-confident.
If you're blessed like I've been,
Mhm.
having players that are super humble
Yeah.
that I've had kids I've had a girl that's scored over 100 goals for me, and
Jesus.
and not only does she not even throw her hands up or pump this pump,
Yeah.
she basically just turns and runs back, and they're all
Yeah.
jumping on her. But she I mean, it's rare to see it. Usually soccer players are type A personalities. They're very outgoing. This
Yeah.
girl was super shy.
Yeah.
Didn't I don't think I've had 100 words come out of that girl's mouth because she's just
Wow.
super shy. But the ability all day to score goals and but never so humble. And I've had other girls that are super humble as well. They celebrate but don't have that ego. Like they don't do the Ronaldo.
Yeah.
They're I hate that. But they're so humble, and they even though they scored, they go up to the girl that passed the ball to him and give
Mm,
that kid the credit to find
yes.
her. It's super rare again. And it's you like the cocky ones too because it's fun, but as long as they're not
Yeah.
throwing in other teams' faces. I've had kids, I coach 7-year-olds, and they've won their first championship, and they for the tournament, and now they're a little bit cocky, and I'm like, you guys need to relax. You're 7, and
Yeah.
you can have lots more of these, but you need to be humble. You need to
Yes.
be a good champion, and when we lose, we need to be a defeated champion in a way,
Yeah.
because you got to learn how to take the good with the bad. You have to learn from what mistakes you made to where you
Mhm.
can improve, and only have wins, right?
Yeah, exactly. So then talking about defeat brings back a lot of memories. I talked about this with Tony was about my father. Like he always taught me never to win first, but learn to lose. Because he said, because you can get so damn good at winning, you can be winning one time and then you play against a team that's just on another level and you get crushed. You take that. And now, because you lost that and you put so much emphasis on winning, now when you go back to the other league where you were so dominant, now you just look like every other team. So I guess
Right.
the question is, how do you get your players comfortable to losing and not losing their team spirit and their confidence as a team? Most importantly, as a player.
Huh. Well, I also coach an under 11 girls team
Okay.
who have lost every single game,
Okay.
every game. So they have not won a game.
Okay.
So, and they're still have a smile on their face. They never
Yeah.
gave up. Their level is very, very recreational, honestly.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but they've come so far. They've been with me. Some of them have been with me in January. It'll be 1 year, and immense level
Hmm.
upswing. And the kids love each other. They work hard. I tried to kill them in boot camp over the summer, thinking they were gonna like die, and they were like they wanted more.
Wow.
They're just wanting it, and the parents are super supportive. Now
Yeah.
this is a low end, right? So unfortunately, higher end teams,
Hmm.
um, at least in Dallas, Texas, anyway,
Yeah.
if you don't win, they bolt. The parents bolt. Make them. They leave. They will go find another team that is just all about winning.
Wow.
Unfortunately, it's sad. It's sad. So that's Dallas soccer though. It is cutthroat as all get out. It's super sad.
Jeez.
Yeah. So
Wow.
you tell the parents, say, look, it's a process. You either, I'm talking about little ones, right? As they get older, look, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. Yes, of course, we want to win all games, but again, it's a process. You have to understand. And like you said, your dad was spot on. You
Yeah.
have to learn how to lose, because with losing, you should be a learning process. And if there's not, and you don't want to learn from your mistakes and just move on, then that's
Yeah.
super sad.
Yeah, and not only that, but like it also relates to the real world. Like, you know how you mentioned cutthroat soccer, like if you get cut from a team and you can't take it well, then when you're pursuing, let's say a career, you're playing college soccer and you get cut from a job and there's like super four great candidates and you don't get chosen. That's just the reality. Maybe that person prepared better, he worked harder, maybe he's just got along better with the CEO, the business owner, whatever it is. But learning to lose, I think it's such an underrated but super valuable skill that can not only help a player, but a person can help you grow as a person. Um, And so now transitioning, moving off, actually going into player development. From the coaches that I've interviewed from, they've had over 20 years of experience. I want to go deeper into that. What three components do you focus on when developing young players so that they can actually develop but still build a winning culture?
Um, uh, this coming spring will be my start of my 35th year
Oh,
of
wow.
coaching.
Yeah.
So, and I do have, I, of course, development is number one.
Mhm.
Actually, fun is number one.
Okay, fun.
Development is number two, and competitive number three.
Okay.
Okay. Those are, and then life lessons come in within that. I mean, through that, through those three bases, I put them in a culture where they are very competitive. And I usually typically have, some of the top teams in my club, fortunately. So it's my job to keep them competitive. And, but they learn the game. They learn how to win, how to lose, but how to compete. And then I try to make it as fun as I can by playing games that teach the game, and yet, but where they're not just, okay, guys, throw a ball out there and let's scrimmage. I try
Yeah.
to, put them in an environment where they're competitive, but yet having a blast, where they're like, wait, practice is over? Oh, you know.
Yeah.
But I think through those three, um, I've had pretty good career with my coaching.
Okay. So number one, fun. Number two, player development. And number three, competition. Right.
Yes.
Okay. So now I want to move on to separation, winning, and competition. Personal question. Why do you think some parents or some teams or coaches almost trash on winning? It's almost like when you go into a game and you beat a team by like 10-0, it's
Mm.
like they put down winning for some reason. When in reality, it's almost like you should win, you should develop, but like it's not our fault as a team that they are losing. Maybe they should be improving. But it almost like teaching young players to feel sorry when they win. And when you go outside of soccer, you can't feel sorry. You have to go in and win. Why do you think that happens?
I don't know. I mean, it depends on obviously situational stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
some teams, some coaches put teams in lower divisions just to win. That's the scary part too, though. It's like,
Okay.
why
Yeah.
are you in this division? I
Yeah.
mean, that team that hasn't won one game, we got drummed by them, and I'm like, why? Why are you in this division? I asked the coach straight up because they got nothing out of killing my team. And my team still never gave up. But I'm like, and his answer was, he was like, well, we got killed by Lake Highlands teams or with higher level teams. And I said, oh, okay. So you're going to come down here and play a team that you have no business playing to make your team and your parents feel better? Okay. That's quality coaching. Good job, buddy. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. It's just, I would say, if it's a competitive game, I mean, I've had my teams that win handily and beat teams, but I try to make it where I don't kill them, 15-0. I try to say, okay, you guys have to have 5 passes. The ball has to go all the way back to the keeper before you can attack
Okay.
again. I don't want to kill teams because
Mhm.
I've been on both ends, right?
Yeah.
Nobody, and I guess some kids would go, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sick of losing." Well, it just depends. Are you like that? My group of kids, they're not going, "Ugh, we're out of here." They are like,
Mm.
look, the parents can see the development; they're getting better,
Yeah.
and soon we'll be able to be more competitive. But I mean, our last couple games, we lost 1-0, so my parents were super stoked that it was so close. And the other team scored with like a minute to go in the game, so it was I don't know. I can't answer that one
Yeah.
because of the basis of where I've come from. I've
Yeah.
seen both ends, so um, it's the culture, obviously.
Yeah. Great point of view. Now it got me thinking for other questions, but I still want to move on here. So we touched bases on separating yourself. We talked about, having that first touch and, just having that mentality to win. But other than that, what actionable steps can a young player, let's say a 12 to 13-year-old, can do in order to separate himself from the rest and become a talent that teams just want so that they can win?
I would say, honestly, keep working hard at your own training sessions, but
Okay.
it really needs to come also from them working on their own without anybody telling them to. You have to
Yeah.
work on, as in anything in life, if you want to become a better person at your job or do anything better, you have to train for it. You have to practice it.
Yep.
Some kids get 12 and 13, right? Some kids don't even come in their own. Boys, especially, they don't get that growth spurt. Some boys, not till they're in late high school,
Yeah.
early college. Some I've seen. My brother didn't grow till he was in college. It was like, wow, you are a late bloomer. So
Yeah.
girls are pretty much already their height by 13, 14. There's
Mhm.
not a lot more growth physically wise, but
Mhm.
anybody can improve pure speed, say 10%, pure
Mhm.
speed. Technical speed, yes, you can improve. But again, it's got to be repetition, repetition, repetition.
Yeah.
It's touches, touches, touches. First touch, 1,000 touches. Balls thrown at him. Yes, you can prove. To your point though, to really be noticed, it just depends on the kid. I mean, where are they? Where do they stand right now to be seen? Um, Best kids to impress me are kids that get it and give it. Get it and give it, or being effective on the field. Are
Yeah.
they running? Are they getting back? Are they attacking? Are they defending? Overall, player wise, that's those kids that stick out. Not the kids that just always just score the goals, because that's
Yeah.
those kids are supposed to score goals.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say, okay, I'm 12 and 13. How can I make myself stand out? Well, improve your touch, improve your passing, improve your overall game. Work on your own.
Yeah.
That would be my answer to that.
Okay. Great answer. So now mental toughness here. There's just you go to games, there's just some calm games where every parent is encouraging them, no trash talk. But then there's just those games where it seems that every parent is trashing. You have other parents on the sideline, others here, they're talking crap, and they're also talking down on the players who are actually playing against the other team. How do you instill like mental toughness so you can be emotionally stronger to actually handle that and to not get your game dismantled? So you're still effective on the field. You can still pass. You can still take those risks without being afraid of getting another mean comment.
Yeah. I am pretty darn tough on my girls. I am. I
Okay.
mean, I guarantee you, you ask anybody, the the word on the street of me is they either love me or hate me. There is no in between with
Okay.
me personally. And that's one thing that they will say is I'm loud. And I am hard on my kids. I am super hard, but I'm also loving too. I'm the first one to say good job too, because you got to give them that love, because they will go through a brick wall for me. They will do anything to please me, which is girls, and especially on the girl side, girls are pleasers, right? So they will do anything to please me.
Yeah.
And so already they're already tough,
Yeah.
mental tough, because they've had me as a coach. But then
Mhm.
on the same point, I've heard parents make derogatory comments towards my kids, and I pulled that kid aside and I said, don't listen to those people, don't listen to them. And if I hear teammates ripping other teammates, I tell my kids, you are all going to make a mistake on this field, every
Yeah.
one of you. Okay, so don't rip. The best way to get your teammates to keep working hard is being motivated and being positive with them. And it's sometimes hard for me to be positive in some games because they're so competitive, but I
Yeah.
try it. I've really worked on that. But you gotta have the positivity, starting with the parents, okay,
Okay.
and the coach and the kids on the field. You have to all be on the same positive note. So yeah, instead of ripping them, you know, the girl's her head's going to go down if the captain of the team is like, that was horrible. It's got to be, you're not going to, that girl's going to, out. She's done, mentally done.
Yeah.
You got to pick her up. Hey, I need you. You got to make this
Mhm.
next one. Let's go. We need
Wow.
you. So positivity is key.
Yeah, so it seems like you take the same approach, a similar approach to Tony. He's like a little bit of tough love and being hard on your team so that they're mentally strong and they know how to win. They can take um learn to take an L without being let down and without their self-confidence being completely destroyed. But where do you set that line? You touched a little bit about it, where it's like super tough, because Tony mentioned before, he's like, I've lost players in the past because I've been super tough. The players want to get out because they're like, it's super tough. And then I have other players who are like, oh man, this coach was being a little bit soft on me. How do you find that line between being hard so that they can actually listen, and then we'll move on to listening, but also so you don't push players away? You don't, I guess, kind of like demoralize their spirit.
Well, I've been doing this a long time, so
Yeah.
I've had lots of experience. I've lost those kids
Yeah.
in the past. When I came out of college, I super cocky, super cocky. I mean, I just thought I was the top coach in the world, man. I think
Yeah.
a lot of them are when you're right out of college and pro, and
Okay.
they're like, I know more about soccer than you do, whatever, right? But it truly is a learning curve. But you have. I mean, if my kids at halftime and say we're down or we're up, I said, look, if we lose, let's lose, making them earn a goal. Look, this team's been together longer. Do the best you can. Keep working hard, but don't put everything on. Just have to win this game. Just play. Just go play hard and don't give up. And good things will happen too. If you just keep working hard, you'll get one. I always go in at. We were winning in that championship game. My little kiddos, we were winning 1-0 at the time. And I told the kids, and they're 7, so it's funny because my parents were laughing in the background. I said, girls, we are losing 1-0. We are losing right now. I need you guys to go out there in the first 5 minutes. Let's get a tying goal. And one of my kids is like, we are winning. What are you talking about? It's 1-0. 7 years old, right? So she's like, and I go, okay, I'm trying to teach you guys. You have to play as if you are losing, okay?
Oh, okay.
So, and if you do, then you keep fighting and you work harder. And we did. I said, I told that same girl that questioned me, I go, I need you to score in the first 5 minutes. She scored in the first 40 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Jesus.
it was, and she turned to me and smiled, and I said, see?
Oh. Now what did you do next? Now did you say, now we're down 2-0. We got to score another?
Nope. I said, we need one more. We need one more. We need one more for the win because we just tied it up.
Yeah,
And we did.
Always,
we scored another
you
one.
can always do one more. Always can go one more. But
Right.
now something, moving on to listening and communication, something that I think isn't put much attention on. How do you have that hard talk with the player who isn't listening to your game plan, no matter how many times you tell them, hey, this is the game plan we're going to execute, but they just still, maybe they're just not zoned in, maybe they're just not feeling it, or maybe they just don't want to listen. How do you give them that talk where you get your point across, but it also doesn't come across as rude?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Because it's like, I coach littles right now.
Yeah.
So it's, you're going to have the kids that, I'm sitting there I'm in a heated halftime, rah-rah speech. And this one kid goes, I had pizza for breakfast. Wait, what? So, but on the older kids, it's hard. If you're not focused and keyed in, it's like, look, you pull them aside and say, look, man, are you not feeling it today? I don't ever attack a kid in front of the other team, in front of her teammates, because that's just not, especially with girls, you just lost her right there. Wow. You lost that kid for not only that game, but for a while. If you throw a girl under a bus in front of her teammates, you might as well call it a night, because it's I'm telling you, girls are a different species to coach. So, but you pull her aside and you say, look, I need you to focus, because if you're not feeling it, that's okay. You can't always play like me every day. I get it. So, hey, why don't you just help me coach today? I'm just kidding. I just say, look, if you're not gonna pay attention and you're not gonna focus and get it done, kiddo, I gotta take you out. It's as simple as that.
Okay, so you're just upfront about them. You tell if you're not feeling it, you're just out.
Well, I mean, if they're struggling so much where they're causing a
Yeah.
difference in the game?
Mhm.
Absolutely. You have to.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
have to. Now we're talking on a rec level. Yeah. I mean, you gotta let them play, right? I mean,
Yeah.
but it's like, hey, I need you to focus and I need you to do what I'm trying to tell you instead of, I don't know what you're doing. That's not at all what I want the game plan to be.
Yeah.
You're going off course here. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And,
that's a tough one.
yeah, and it happens definitely even more on the higher level. Like I've seen pro games. Well, it doesn't happen, like when you watch the Champions League, a player will make one or two mistakes, but they'll stay in. But if you look at American soccer at the higher levels, let's say academies, you make a mistake in the first 5 minutes and you can't get back on, the coach is like out. Next.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sadly, it happens. That comes place into the mental toughness part again, is dealing with that objection, that setback. But also, I mean, how frustrating is it when a player, I mean, this has to be one of the biggest frustrations for coaches, when a player just doesn't listen, thinks he knows it all. I unfortunately was one of this player. He's like, oh my God, look at me. And then I had to get humbled and be like, shut up, kid. You don't know anything. And I was like,
Right.
oh, yeah.
It's true. That more so on the boys' side than the girls' side. I'll
Yes.
tell you right now.
Yeah.
Maybe in high school, because high school coaches are typically sometimes are not even really coaches. They're more teachers versus real soccer coaches.
Yeah.
So I could totally see girls being rude to um, a school coach,
Mhm.
versus a club coach. No,
Yeah.
girls not so much. But um, at least not at FC Dallas, I don't think any boy would ever stand up to an academy coach. I mean, he'd be cut like that. He'd be cut in an instant.
Wow.
Well, they have so many boys that would love to play in our program. There's kids
Mm.
lined up to play for FC Dallas. I mean, we have so many teams and so many, well, there's not so many
Yeah.
spots, right? So if they're not focused and keyed in, but I see what you're saying though.
Yeah.
There's the teams that are underneath these academy teams.
Yeah.
There's some cocky ones, and I've seen coaches outright sit them down because they won't
Mhm.
put up with it. You can't because if that kid does it, what does that leave the door open for?
Yeah. More.
Yes, you can't have that.
Yeah. Does there come an instant though when the player is cocky and he's still performing? Like, let's say you gotta
Or
like that happens with, let's say, Ronaldo or Neymar.
ugh,
They're cocky and but they're still scoring. They're still making all the plays that you're like, this guy is so cocky yet he still played a freaking through ball and he scored. And the
yeah,
almost like settles down. It's all right. He made a play. Ha-
that's what
Yeah.
I kills me is the difference between Messi and Ronaldo is
Yeah.
Messi is just more humble and more. I that's my
Yeah.
That's I would go to that guy. I want to have Messi as my teammate. I know
Yeah.
a lot of people would say hell no, but
Yeah.
I would take Messi before Ronaldo all day just because of not yes, Ronaldo scores goals and Ronaldo's this, that, whatever. But
Yeah.
Messi I think would be a better teammate overall versus Ronaldo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, not
All
to
about
bring.
Ronaldo,
Yeah.
so
Well, the stats show it too, what Messi does. But here, coming in on the last question, in your eyes, from your soccer experience from over 35 years, now this is the final question. What piece of advice do you have with a talented young player who actually has what it takes to become a professional? He isn't noticed because he is struggling financially with his parents.
oh, you know, if again in my situation, I'm blessed because we
Yeah.
have a FC Dallas. The boys don't pay pretty much,
Okay.
so I would totally set him up with on the guy side. I would totally set him up. I know the professional coach at FC Dallas. I know the top coach.
Yeah.
If I saw a kid that hey, who do I need to contact? Which academy coach do I need to get this kid? You need to see this kid.
Yeah.
I would get him seen and taken care of. On the girl side, um, I mean I've sponsored kids myself. I mean, I didn't get
Wow.
paid for kids. That one of these kids is being looked at by the national team. She's like my second kid. I mean, ever since she's came to me at 5 years old, and I coached her. Her mom couldn't afford it, going through a divorce, and
Yeah.
I took care of her. I mean, she didn't pay for
Wow.
anything. Um,
Jesus, yeah, and there comes up a massive perspective shift because I've seen other young players from different countries, even from the US, complain of like, I need an opportunity to be shown. And just a month ago, I was interviewing one of the European scouts. Actually, 2 months ago, he goes by Colin Reed, and he's trained and mentored actually a top Liverpool player who's actually playing there right now. Um,
Wow.
yeah, but he said if you're a young player and you think you haven't been noticed, you're wrong. He's like, sometime he's like, a coach has seen you play. That coach probably knows another coach that knows another coach, and then that climbs up the food chain. He's like, if you haven't been scouted, he's like, either I'm going to tell you the truth, you're probably not good enough, you're not talented, or either you were being watched in training and you just didn't take that training serious, and that
Mm,
your opportunity was gone.
it's sad. That's
I
why
know.
you got to have focused kids all the
Mhm,
time. I mean, it's those you'll know
mhm,
which kids are going to succeed. If you go watch a random training session,
mhm.
you'll see which kids will be successful or are the most successful on a team. I can go watch a girls session and just don't even say a word to anybody, just watch it, and you could see which kids
Mhm.
are the ones that are laser on focused and probably the best kid on that team or one of the best on that team.
Yeah, exactly. Final point here, because he said I can tell when a player is good in the first 5 minutes. He's like he's like in the first 5 minutes. He's like just the way they put on their shoes. He's like it's weird how a soccer coach's brains work. He's like because I have so much experience. I'm like not in my case, of course, but he's like it's weird how a soccer coach's brain works. You can just see the little details, how they put their shoes on, how they walk, how they even grab the ball and start practicing.
How they interact with the kids on the
Yeah,
team. It's
exactly.
huge, huge.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, that's been it. Kat, I want to first thank you for your time. Hopefully, I did it below 40 minutes. I think
Oh,
I.
you were great. You were great. No worries. Thank you
All
so much
righty.
for giving me the
Yep.
time.
All right. And I want to thank the FC Dallas, of course. So,
Awesome.
some shout outs.
Hey, appreciate you. You take care. We'll talk
Yep.
soon.
Bye bye.
Bye.